Hello and welcome. My name is Naiditsch. I'm a chess grandmaster and welcome to the finals of the World Cup between Wei Yi and Sindarov. We saw two relatively peaceful draws in the classical games, and here we have the final day of the World Cup where the winner is going to be determined. First game in the rapid chess. Let's go straight to the game, and currently what do we see? We have Sindarov with the white pieces, Wei Yi with the black pieces, slight advantage for white. Probably we're going to see now an endgame. And is it better for white, or black will be able instantly to equalize? Let's see. It looks like maybe white is aiming for a slightly better position. So for example, we might see here an endgame in case white would manage somehow to stabilize. So black wants to play d4 next. We have the pressure plus the a5 pawn is going to fall. So white has to stabilize. In case white manages to stabilize, we'll have a better endgame because we have this isolated pawn on d5. In theory, in the long run, the king from e1 will get to d4. So the question is there a way to defend against the move d4, which is coming next? Let us take a brief look at the first moves of the game. So we have here the bishop b4 played by Wei Yi. So Ragozin and bishop g5, h6, take a very safe line chosen by Sindarov. Usually more ambitious is the move queen a4. So very safe line as well was taking on f6. These positions usually are more or less equal. So till here both players are playing very fast, so this is a normal position, a4 and rook e8. Well, after a4, usually we see the move a5 to stop white from advancing, but this time we have the move rook e8 with the idea of playing e5 straight. We have still the move a5, e5, let's go, and d takes e5 after long thinking. But what else to do? In case we take first on d5, it would not change much. Probably black still takes back. So we have here c takes d5. The idea is in case black takes on f3 and queen takes f3, we have the rook g1 and we have this pressure on the g7 pawn. That's why black is still taking just on d5, and here we go. King d2, yes, is making perfect sense. And I think Wei Yi has to calculate now, is there a way to play the move d4? So does d4 works now instantly? d4 with rook takes a5 next. So what to do for white? Is there a chance for white to do something special? For example, in case we protect the pawn on a5, so b4, take, it looks completely equal. Even better, maybe a little bit for black, because we have the e3 pawn, which is weak, and king on d2, not the best. So this is not a play for a win. Let's take rook takes a5. So is there a chance to play now for a win with the white pieces? I don't see it, because even if you get the rook to c7, it's not enough to play for a win. So I believe that d4 is looking like a strong option for black. And probably if Wei Yi is going to play it, the move d4, it would be the most logical approach. Let's see. Let's see if we have the move d4 or no. I guess yes. So we have to wait a little bit. By the way, the move is already made or not yet? Yes, it's made. d4, take. So the position is completely fine for black. I think the game should end in a draw, even though maybe Wei Yi is going to try to play for a win. This was black, but objectively speaking, I think it should be just a draw. First game seems like Sindarov did not manage to get any kind of advantage out of opening, so it's going to end into a draw. Still, we might see some action. A lot of time for both players on the clock, so we have 11 minutes versus almost 10 minutes. So yes, it's gonna take a while now for both players to consider the plans in this endgame. Till then, just check me one. I would like to check one thing, because I think we are not live yet. Yes, we're offline. I don't know why we're offline. Let's double check. Just a second. Yes, we are offline. Okay, let's hope that we will be live soon, because it does not start. Force online check, let's see. Just a second please for this interruption, because I'm offline and I should be live. So we need to wait a little bit, then reload, and let's hope that we are live. It also happened yesterday that we've been not immediately live, so a little bit strange. Sometimes Lichess sees us live, but sometimes not, so we have to double check on that. Just 30 seconds more and I will reload the website, and yeah, we should be okay to go. Okay, so let's check if we're good. No, we're not. So still offline. Yeah, that's not so good, but let's continue, because for YouTube it works, but on Lichess we are not doing well. Okay, maybe soon we will be recognized. Let's go back to this endgame, and we see white with the move rook to c5. So Sindarov is trying to equalize as fast as he can, but now black has the option, for example, of playing the move rook a1. So we have this very unpleasant pin on the first rank. The idea of white is maybe after playing rook a1 to play the move g3, so the bishop gets on g2. Could this be the idea of Sindarov? Yes, it's very possible. As well, bishop h3 is not working, still bishop g2 is possible. Little tactics. Maybe this is the idea. So rook c5, quite well played. Obviously, black is not risking to get worse here, but maybe this is just a straight draw. It looks like that. In case black rook goes to a2, well, does not improve much the situation. b2 is hanging, but white has a lot of options to defend the pawn on b2. Maybe still black is gonna play the move rook a2 or the move rook a4, attacking the pawn on d4. So black doesn't want to take here on c5. Now white will have this beautiful pawn structure, so there is no reason for that. Wei Yi is considering rook a4 or rook to a2. I guess maybe there are some tactics after rook a1 g3, for example, to try something like rook to b1. A little trap, because there is no king c2, we have the bishop c5 check. So maybe also this is possible, to play rook to b1. For white now, how to defend the pawn on b2? There are a couple of ways, but seems to be quite safe. Rook b5, by the way, I'm just blundering today, so bishop f5, of course we can just take it, and it doesn't work. So king c2 is also perfectly fine, so it makes no sense to do that with the black pieces. Maybe something like b6, trying to get rid of the rook on c5, but all of that is looking a bit strange, so I don't think that rook a1 is the best. Personally, I believe more in rook a4 or rook to a2. Still, let's see. Maybe there are some tricks. Black needs to get the rook from a8 to d8. In case black manages to do that, black will be doing better. So very, very important to get it. And let's see if black will manage. So we have to wait a little bit for the next move to happen. It's gonna be rook a4 or rook to a1. Wei Yi is still thinking, 7 minutes on the clock, so quite a lot of time, because this is just an endgame and black can secure a draw with easy moves. So Wei Yi tries to figure out some chances to play for a win here, or this is just a draw. Personally, my move is maybe rook a4, even not rook a2, because how to defend the pawn on d4? Let's try something logical, like maybe king c3, because the rook from c5 might go to c7. So king c3, but now the move rook a1 might get a little bit stronger, so I have this pressure. So king c3, I don't know, maybe not the best. Let's try the move bishop c4. Makes sense because rook c7 comes next with a pressure on f7 pawn. So bishop c4, but still not that simple here to say that for sure it is a draw, because black has a couple of tactical issues with the move b5 here. So bishop is under attack. If bishop takes, rook takes, king c3, but yeah, this is also looking like a draw, so no, this is not a play for a win. So I don't know, maybe it is just a draw. So a rook a4, a king c3, yeah, probably it should be just a draw. So rook a4, bishop c4, rook c7 is coming next. How to avoid that? To play for a win with black pieces seems to be very difficult here. Looks just like an equal position, so we can expect a draw, I think, in the first game. For the World Cup title, who becomes the winner of the World Cup? Let's see. For the moment, we have an equal position. It is the first game. Most probably we will see a draw. Wei Yi is... he made some moves, so let's see what happened. Yes, just rook takes c5, so Wei Yi is forcing a draw. He is not even trying to be inventive. He says, alright, let me make a draw. Draw is fine, so bishop d3. We're gonna see a draw in the next couple of moves. Most probably black will continue with something like b6 somewhere just to change the pawn. Then the king gets over f8 to e7, so it is very, very safe, and we will see just a draw in a couple of the next moves. Can we expect a different result? I don't think so, because to make pressure with white with the move eventually b4, but even this is looking just like a draw. But with black, I would try to aim for the move b6 as fast as I can. So maybe immediately to play b6 is possible. There is a move c6 for white, but also c6 is looking a bit dangerous for white. We can play simple rook c8, pressure on the pawn on c6, and rook c1, for example, defending the pawn on c6. Now black can simply play the move a5. It's a good structure. Then to play king f8, king e7, and it should be a draw, but there's maybe the move c7. So let's start with the move maybe rook c7, or I don't know if there's something better than that. Rook c7 looks good, with the idea to play a5 next, and then just to bring the king. So this should be a draw. If not b6, what black can do here? Rook c8 straight also looks very, very solid as well. This should be a draw. So bishop d5 played, also very, very solid. Bishop is doing so well on d5, attacking the pawn on g2. The next move will be the move b6. So in any case, it seems to be that the game is going to end in a draw. Not very spectacular game. White did not get any kind of advantage from the opening. So yes, difficult to play for a win in case you're not doing better out of opening, and Wei Yi managed to equalize the position very, very quick. So quite a normal result here, the draw. Okay, till we are waiting, let me try once again to refresh, because we are still not live. We're still offline, and this is weird. I don't understand why are we still offline, because on YouTube we're doing well, so on YouTube everything is fine, but on Lichess we're still offline. I will try to refresh once again. Still not much is happening, so we have a little bit of time to refresh. So maybe there is a issue with the Lichess. Let's see. Let's see if we are able to refresh, but so let's refresh. No, still offline, so I don't think we can do something about it. Let's go back. Let's go back to the game. So what do we have? We have the move f3 been played to stop or to protect the pawn on g2, which is normal, rook c8, attacking the pawn on c5, very normal, b4. Black has to decide, b6 or just to put the pawn on a6. Both is possible. Personally, I would always try to play the move b6. It just looks better because in case we play the move a6, in theory, a6, b7 could be targeted. And as well, in theory, the white king eventually might go from d2 to b6. That's why the move b6 is looking more solid. In case white takes, it should be defendable position. Next, we're gonna put the rook from c8 eventually to d6 just to protect the pawn on b6, and it should be a draw. Something like rook c1. Well, we are simply taking on c5, and then the king is very fast on e7. So as well, this is looking like very, very safe. Wei Yi is thinking maybe he's considering the move a5. Also looks pretty nice to play a5, attacking immediately the pawn on b4. Now, what to do for white here? I guess, I don't know if we can play something like king c3 followed by king to d4. So let's say king c3, a little trap, because in case of b6 we have king d4. But even this is like not 100% a big trap, maybe still a draw. But it's a chance. So black is gonna take on b4, king takes b4. So winning chances for white, I think maybe some small ones, because the king is so advanced on b4. So the king will try to get to b6. Let's do some normal moves like king f8. For example, we can do straight, maybe bishop e4. King comes closer, and here comes the white king. So king on b5 is very, very good. Next, we can play rook a1, rook a7. It's gonna be a bit of a suffer for black. I think Wei Yi doesn't want that. Let's see what we are going to see. Wei Yi still plays the move a5. Okay, interesting. So what happens in case of king c3? For sure, Wei Yi has something in mind, but after king c3, black needs to change both pair of pawns to secure a draw. So how to do that? How can we change both pawns here? To do nothing, there is king d4 coming, or some easy move like rook a1. So to do nothing is not an option. Black has to play something. So a waiting move, I mean, is not an option. Yeah, we have to do something. And I don't see something better than just take on b4. It should be a draw, but again, it's a little bit of suffer now. This idea of bishop e4 and then king is getting to b6. This could be a little dangerous for black. Still a draw, but it's a little bit dangerous, so black has to be precise. Maybe the best is just to put the bishop to c6, try to activate the rook. King is still far away, this is the problem, so white maybe is able to go like straight with the king to b6. Maybe then we can defend by activating the rook, so let's say rook on the second line. Rook b2 as well, quite a dangerous check. So yes, it should be still a draw, but it's a bit of suffer. So black has to be a little bit careful after the move king to c3. Is there something else that white can do? Let's see, just taking on a5. Black, of course, takes the pawn on c5. Now, can white do something in the current position? The pawn is hanging, so I don't think there is something better than to play rook a1. Protecting the pawn, but to win this position, I don't see how to play for a win in the current position. So this should be just an instant draw. King c3. I believe that king c3 is the only way to try to play for a win with the white pieces. Still, it should be a draw, but it is a try. So maybe we are going to see king c3. Let's try again the move b6. Is it a forced draw? King d4. So let's say we go back on b7. Now, white probably has to take on b6. We are taking on b4, but it's a dangerous position for black because there is rook to b1 and the b4 pawn might fall. If the b4 pawn falls, black is going to lose the game. So to do something like that for black looks extremely dangerous. So I would not do that. What do we have? No, we have just the move b8. This is weird because why not to try to play king c3? Yes, it's not a major try to win the game, but it's a small try to win the game. So why not to play king on c3? Instead, we have this Rook c1 forcing the exchange of rooks. Obviously black cannot take on a5 because we have rook c8. It's a mate. So rooks has to be changed and the black king gets very close. This is just a draw. I don't think that white has chances. Yes, white is doing a bit better because we have the king on the 4th rank and black has the king on the 6th rank, but it should be a draw in my opinion. To win this position, very difficult, or black should make a mistake, because in most of the cases when we want to change the bishops to go for the pawn endgame, it will be a draw. It's not enough to win the game. And in case we don't use the idea of changing the bishops, and then black is just gonna wait with the bishop. So f6, quite solid move. The next move could be the move g5, just to put the pawns on the dark squares. Usually very useful. Sindarov is probably considering this move bishop e4, so he's calculating, is there a chance to play bishop e4? So take. Yes, white is pushing for a win, but usually this kind of endgames are ending into draw. So let's say king to c6, we go king to c4, so white is waiting for the next move of black. But I think should be a draw. By feeling it should not give a win to white. Let's say we play something like h5. White as well can play some solid moves like g3, let's say g5, h3. And now black has to play. Is there a move b6? No, because white is gonna take and then king d5. So this is not possible for black. Black has to play back. So let's say king d6, king b5, king c7, king c5, king d7, king b6, king c8. But the question is, what's next? How to win this sort of position with the white pieces? Maybe the winning idea could be now to change the direction and to go with king to d5. Let's say king e7, because in case king to c7, there's king e6. So king to d5, king e7, e5. But usually after e5 we will have some move like f5, because to take on e5, yes, this might be winning for black, even though it needs to be calculated, but f5 might be the survivor. So not so easy everything. Maybe with white to play g4 prior, or with black to play g4. By feeling it should be a draw, but maybe black has to suffer a little bit. In the game I have the move h4 after some time. Sindarov decides not to play the move bishop e4. Probably he thinks as well that this is just a draw. So we have the move h4, even though maybe it was a try. Maybe black would have missed something here. So we have the move h4 and g5 played by Wei Yi. Wei Yi actually was very little time now on the clock, just 1 minute and 40 seconds. So little time for Wei Yi. Sindarov is thinking to take on g5 or not to take on g5 in most of the cases. In case you play for a win, you should of course not change the pawns. In an endgame, to play for a win, you need some material. So it would be the move h5, but after h5 we put the pawn on the white square, which is not so great. Maybe Sindarov is thinking, is there a way to play right now the move bishop e4? So take, and to take with a king. I don't know, needs to be calculated. We can make the quick calculation. For example, king to c5, king f5, king b5. We take, let's say take, and b5. So black is coming first, but black will have to defend a position with a pawn down. Okay, this is quite unpleasant, except that black finds a way to win straight the pawn on g2. So black has to give some very unpleasant check and win the pawn on g2. Otherwise, this queen endgame with a g pawn, it's a very unpleasant endgame to defend. So quite big practical chances to win in such a position with the white pieces. So maybe the things are not that simple. g5, bishop e4 could be calculated, because now bishop e4, take, king to e6, for example. We might be able, I don't know actually if h5 is possible, but let's say we're gonna take. Black is gonna take and we play this move g4, so we'll win at tempo. It is getting tricky. Maybe there's still a draw, but it is getting tricky here. So let's see if we have the move bishop e4. Sindarov is going under 3 minutes. He is not sure as well if he should take on g5. In case of taking, I think it should be already closer to a draw, because I think in case of taking, black might be able to take with the f-pawn. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks pretty okay. So we have the move h5 played by Sindarov. Okay, he's going for a hard push against Wei Yi, because to put the pawn on h5, usually you don't put the pawns on the square of the bishop. Let's see if this is making sense. Personally, I believe difficult to win a position after h5, because there will be no breakthrough, and white pawns are now on the white square, so on the color of the bishop. That's why I believe this should be a draw. We have the move g4. Okay. Can black somehow get to the f3 pawn? Difficult, because there is bishop e4 coming next. But maybe black can choose a passive defense with bishop e6, bishop e4, just to go back, and after king c5, just to move the bishop. So it will be difficult for white, or maybe to move the bishop to f7, so we keep the white king away from the square f5. Still, there are some chances with moves like bishop d5, bishop e8, just to wait. White is gonna try to push with the move king d4, king e4, king to f5. I believe it should be possible for black to prevent that. For example, bishop a4. So in case of king a4, we have the check on c2. And we sort of move around, but yeah, maybe some practical chances. Objectively speaking, I believe it should be a draw, but there might be some practical chances. Yes, indeed, we see this position on the board. And we have now Sindarov with 2 minutes 45 seconds and Wei Yi just under 1 minute. So Wei Yi is under big pressure. Time is so important in this position, because black has to defend quite precisely. Black plays the move bishop c8, like wow. No, bishop d7, because I saw bishop c8. It would be strange, because it would be just bishop f5, but yes, bishop d7 is making, of course, more sense. And let's see, king to d5. King to d5, so the white king wants to get to e6. Now bishop f5. Is it possible to play the move bishop f5? Let's see. Bishop f5, take, and king to d7. Is it a win or is it a draw? It looks still like a draw, but maybe white can go with the move bishop. We have to somehow get this bishop to b5. Yes, this is what he wants to do, but now we have the move bishop d7 and maybe bishop e2. Yes, this is looking very, very nice, what white is doing. Maybe Sindarov actually winning the game. Bishop e2 to avoid the bishop. Yes, bishop e2, bishop c6, king e6, and bishop c8. There is a move like bishop b5, so black will have to play the move f5, but after f5, king gets to e5, f6, and we're gonna lose the pawn on h6. Is it a winning position for white? That would be amazing if Sindarov manages to win this kind of endgame. This would be a huge surprise. So bishop c8, bishop b5 probably is going to be played next. And black is in sort of a Zugzwang. Bishop b5. Let's see if we see the move bishop b5, because bishop b5 may be something like b6, but this is looking just so dangerous for black. Yes, we get the pawn on a6, but everything is gonna fall here. So let's say bishop d7, or maybe bishop, I don't know where to go. Let's say bishop d7, then we're gonna take, the rest. Is this a draw? Hard to tell, but black is under huge pressure now. Very big pressure. So we have the move bishop b5, bishop d7. Wei Yi just keeps on waiting with bishop c8, bishop on d7, but is it enough to make a draw? Is it enough to hold the position to a draw? Black is on the limit. Can white find something here? White king needs to break through this bishop c8, ah3 diagonal. Is there a way to do that? That's the question. So black just waits with bishop c8, bishop d7. Sindarov still 1 minute 20 on the clock, so he has some time to maybe figure out, is there a way to win here, or it just a draw because black moves so passively, but it looks very, very dangerous. It looks just so dangerous. We will see very, very soon if it is a draw or if Sindarov is going to find something. Interesting moment. Under 1 minute for Sindarov, so he has to find something. It's now or never. White is thinking. The time is running down. It seems like Sindarov doesn't see a way to break here the defense of black. Yes, he takes, but what is the idea of white? King e4, king e6, obviously f4 probably is the idea of Sindarov, but is it enough to win the game? Let's see. It doesn't look like it. Looks still like a draw, so probably king e6 should be played. Then we're gonna see f4 take, and then king to e7, and Sindarov is gonna try with this long opposition, so f4 will be played. Of course, take is what happens next, because I think for black to take is a must. Not to take on f4, it looks too dangerous. Yes, take, king e7 probably, and then we're gonna see king e3. So white is trying to trick black with a long opposition by playing king to e3. Yes, but position is a draw. Black has to be very careful, so black maybe with a move king to d7. To play king d6, there is king d4. I don't know if this is a draw or white can try to play for a win, but it looks too dangerous, or even first king f4, so maybe king f4 is unavoidable, but it should still be just a draw. So king e6, king e7, just keep on waiting. Yeah, king e6 maybe the best way, king e4 and then king e7. Yeah, black keeps on waiting, king d5, king d7, king c5, king c7. In case of king f5, there is king to f7. So finally, it looks like Wei Yi is gonna hold the current endgame. But yes, out of nothing, black's position been really on the limit of being lost. Wei Yi finds a defense in the last second because it was on the limit. It was very much on the limit, this draw, and yeah, it is a draw, agreed. Finally, draw. Next game, Wei Yi is having the white pieces, but it was so close. It was already looking really dangerous here with the bishop on c8, because bishop b5, bishop d7, the only defense, and yes, maybe it is still a defense, but on the limit, really, like so close. And interesting moment, I think it was here. If bishop e4 would work straight away, maybe it is still a draw after bishop e4, but at least I believe that this position can be tried to play on. So this is not like it's 100% a draw. It's possible to play on in this position. Then we have the move g5 and h5. Maybe again we had this try of playing bishop on e4. No idea if this is a win or this is a draw. Just so difficult to be sure, because probably it's still a draw, but it's a tricky draw. So Sindarov maybe could have put a bit of more pressure, but it looked so good what Sindarov did. King on d5, perfect position. Black has only 2 squares. Usually when you have just 2 squares, it's very dangerous defense, but still it is enough. So Wei Yi manages to hold the game. Alright, till we are waiting for the next game, let me play a couple of games, so it's a bit more entertaining than just to wait. So let's see. By the way, let us recheck the connection. Maybe we can do something that we're online, because we're still offline, and it's so weird. I don't know why we're offline. This is really strange. Let's see if we can improve the situation. Let's see. Now. Okay, maybe let's wait a little bit more because it's written we have to wait a minute, but seems like Lichess doesn't recognize the stream. Let's wait and okay, let's reload. Let's be lucky. No, still no luck. Yeah. Okay, whatever doesn't work. So let's play some games to wait till both players are preparing for the next game. We are playing not a titled player, so e3, d4, not the most active opening ever. Let's counter it with a King's Indian setup. Let's go with the move knight d7 and e5. So very solid setup for black. Let's go with the move c6 maybe, e4, d5. He is not afraid of that. So let's go. Bishop b2, not even bishop a3. So usually you put the bishop on a3. It would be better for white to do that. Still position of black is perfectly fine. Just it would be better for white because bishop on b2 really doing nothing. Eventually a6 just because he wanted to take and to play. What is this? It's preparation for playing f3, or what is the point of white's play? Hard to understand, so let me just play the move h5, f3. Yes, but f3 is not so great in the structure. Look at the black pieces. Black pieces are just so nicely placed. Is there a move e4 coming? I don't think so. So let's go with the knight to g5. E4. Wow, how this can work. There is knight to g5 all the time. There is also bishop h3, but I would be surprised if this move is working because it should not. Okay, let's take. It looks okay. And can we go like bishop h3 to win the game? I don't know, because maybe it's not enough to win the game. To play bishop h3 is looking pretty nice, but okay, let's go. Let's go bishop h3. Maybe it's gonna be alright. The position of white is just so dangerous. Black is doing so safe, so in any case, black's position should be a little bit better, but the question is how much better. So let's take. So we have the squares, and what can we do next? What can we play next in the current position? Yeah, difficult to get a better position here. Maybe it just equal, but okay, let's take because it looks pretty solid. And what can we do to get a better play here? I don't see it. I don't see it. So let me play just a solid move like knight to g5. We're gonna change the knights, and eventually I will get to the d4 pawn, but it's very close now to equal. I should have played something better, just I couldn't find a way to do something. Maybe I have missed it, but I don't know. In any case, we have to play as well much faster because we have again a player who is pushing the bottom very, very actively. Bishop on c1, another very strange move by white. So let's go for an endgame. Now d4 pawn is a little bit weak, so we might be able to push here a little bit for a win with a black color. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Next move might be f5, then king f7. So d5. Oh, d5 is very, very bad play. d5, of course, is just bad. Let's go with the move f5 to bring the king. Now the pawn is very weak, so black is doing now much better. This is a much better position for black. Hard to win, but it's just much better. So let's go here. Next move is bishop f6, so we are doing very well here. No problem. And we're gonna collect the pawn on d6. Slowly but surely, we gonna win the pawn. And then the question is it a win or is it a draw? But it's not so easy to hold this position with the white color, because how to hold them? d7, okay, we're gonna take. Next, we're gonna play rook d8, and now I'm just gonna collect the pawn on d7. So slowly, black is doing better in the current endgame. Now it's a very difficult endgame for white already. If it's possible to win it, or if this is still a draw, I believe black should have objectively very good chances now to win the current position. It looks very good. Also, the pawn structure is perfect, so okay, let's collect the pawn. Let's take it. Let's go here. So let's give a check, and that's it. The game is done, but we can even win the game very slowly by defending everything, so the pawn is not gonna run away, and then to bring the king just, and that's it. So let's bring the king. He cut me, I cut him. King a3, next move is b4, b5, I mean b4, a5, very easy win. I take, he doesn't even take, okay, so there's basically nothing we should do spectacular. This is an easy win. Yes. Okay, so game is won. Not a very spectacular game, but pretty safe win. Okay, let's play another game. Let's start the game with the move e4. Again, we are not playing a title player, so probably somebody very fast. We have the French defense, and black is not playing, which is strange. So it's very weird when somebody is doing just one move and then he doesn't play, because so many people try to do some strange things online. I don't like it so much, so let's play something very safe here with the move knight takes f6. Okay, let's go for an endgame. It's not the best for white to choose to go for this sort of endgame, but it's pretty safe, so I would like to play some safe position. Maybe a5 is coming, c5, okay. So we're gonna take it and put the bishop to c2. So bishop pair, we have an endgame. Let's play a long game, and maybe we will be able to use the power of the bishop pair. This structure is not looking so good, yes, of course, but sometimes it's still quite decent, so it's enough. Actually, bishop c5, he made a good move, quite surprisingly good move. I don't know how to play here for a win. Okay, we have to play probably bishop c2, but yes, there is this move knight e5 coming. This is a problem because he gets the knight to d3, so he's gonna change. I cannot avoid, the change. I cannot avoid that. This is bad. Okay, probably I have to play something like b4, but I don't like moves like b4. I just don't see something else how I might be able to play for a win here. It's like I don't have something better. Knight f3. He's gonna take the pawn. Okay, it's a bit risky decision by the guy, but maybe it's a good decision by the guy. Let's see. But he plays somehow too strong. I mean, strange, very strange play. Very strong play as well by our opponent, which is quite unusual for this level, but okay. Let's go a5, a6. Of course, now white's position is not so great. We have lost the pawn. But still, we have some drawing chances here. We have the good pawn structure, which gives opportunities to fight for a draw. And yes, it is knight f5. Again, he plays just very good moves. Let's go with the move a6. b6, okay. Let's go rook to d1, because we have here g5. Okay, let's go bishop d4. Maybe we'll get some chances. The king's position is not the best. Still, of course, black is doing better. This is out of question. So how can we irritate? Let's go king f3. Just to wait a little bit. What happens next? King c8, also very safe play. I mean, the guy is so safe. How can we trick such a safe player? I don't know. Let's go h3, but not very useful. But okay. Rook to d7. How to get here some counter chances? I really don't know that. Maybe rook e5 is something. Let's see. Okay, there is bishop b4. I see that, but he can take it. But I don't see something better that I'm capable of doing. So I just go for it. He's thinking a lot. g4. Okay, we're gonna take it, and we're gonna take it. Okay, so now some chances actually to make a draw. Let's go rook f5. Bishop there, so let's go back because I want to get my rook to h1 in case I can. Now I can, and eventually the pawn is going to fall on h7. So slowly we are recovering. Now we took one pawn, and let's see if we can take another. Rook g6. Okay, let's try. Okay. Let's take it. Take. Okay. Let's take one more. Suddenly, black is falling apart. We just took a couple of pawns for actually nothing in return. So these are good news. Let's give a check. And let's promote. Yes, finally a win once again in an endgame, but yes, for some time it was a bad position. So World Cup not starting yet, yeah? No, not starting yet. Are we live or still not? No, still offline. It's like there's nothing that we can do to get live. Okay. That's a bit upsetting, but okay, what is there to be done? Seems like no way to get live. It just doesn't do. If I click, yeah, but then it's, I don't know why it sees us offline when we are obviously online. Yeah, I don't think I can do something about it. Okay, let's play another game, and probably the games will start very soon. We have a game on Caro-Kann, so we answer with a main move, e5, knight f3, one of the main moves, main lines of Caro-Kann with a short castle. Opponent is playing extremely fast, so seems like he knows what he's doing. Let's go with the move knight to d2. Quite a calm move, not very popular, and to play knight to b3. Not a very popular line, but it can be played. Let's see if we have the move c4. No, or then we just protect the pawn, and we go bishop e3. So very safe position for white. It's approximately equal, but it's very playable. So this is what we like. Okay, now should we take the pawn on c5 or should we not take the pawn on c5? I think let's take the pawn on c5. So we grab the pawn, take. Okay, now for sure white should be doing slightly better. Knight to d4, very typical, and next is going to be the move b4. So let's push it. Bishop pair. We have interesting pawn structure. On one hand, knight c4. This is not the best, so let's take it. And next we can think about, okay, let's play. I don't know if I'm much better or I'm a little better there. This is a question. Not 100% sure because this is also okay. But okay, let's take, because this endgame is not so simple for black, I believe. We have here the pawns will be running. So black has to be careful to hold this kind of positions. Now, can we take the pawn? I think we even should take the pawn because I don't care about the exchange. These pawns are so powerful. So we can sacrifice the exchange. Position is looking very promising for white. If we take the pawn on c4 somehow, I think it should be just lost. Otherwise, we just push. So a4, and with a heavy push, a6. Hard to say why this move is so good. So I can also try to win the pawn straight away. Also looks nice. I don't know. Should I win the pawn? Okay, why not to win the pawn? Queen d5. I don't know. Should I do that or should I not? There, queen d5 coming next, yes, but it's still such a nasty position. So okay, queen d5, obviously. Okay, our opponent is thinking that's all right. He can take his time. It's also dangerous. Once I start to move my pawns ahead, this will be just... He gives me a pawn on c4. What is this? Wow. Okay, so this makes no sense. Let's go a4, b5. Oh, this looks horrible. This is looking just so bad. Just we take another pawn, we put the bishop to d4, and look at this very, very powerful bishop. Okay, we don't care about the pawn on f3. It just changes nothing. So let's get the rook to e1. Very safe again. Queen e7 coming next, and that's it. So the game is basically done. If I don't make any major mistakes here with the white pieces, it's just game over. Look at this. Bishop on d4. Actually, the bishop is stronger than the rook. Queen f4. I don't know what is the threat, but okay, let's go with a very, very safe queen e5 just to change the queens, and that's it. So queen on g3. Now let's move with the move maybe c6. Let's advance because here g7 is hanging. Rook e8, little tactics by the guy, but we can just play, I think, rook d1 is looking safe. Queen e7. Let's go with a move. How to win this position? Almost blundered mate in one again. Yeah, better to be careful. Okay, let's take. Queen e2. I think I missed again something, but should be still completely winning. Just very little time. The rest looks good. Okay, the next move, I just push the pawns, and it should be a queen. b7. Okay, this I don't care because next move is just b8. And it is game over. So b8, queen. Okay, let's go with the next pawn. Oh, I missed the perpetual check, or... Oh no, he didn't see that. Okay. What is that? He always tries to trick me with something nasty. But yes, he had a, by the way, he had perpetual check. I have blundered. So yeah, this was bad. Let's see. Games started. Game number 2. Yes, it's on the way. So let's go. Let's go to the second game of the mini match finals of the World Cup. First game ended up in a draw, so decisive game currently. The winner is gonna be crowned the winner of the World Cup. What do we see here? I think slight advantage for the Chinese superstar Wei Yi. Bishop pair, The bishop on a2 is looking very powerful. On the other hand, Wei Yi has spent some time and Sindarov is just playing instantly, so still 16 minutes on the clock. This is a bit strange because it looks like it is a preparation by Sindarov, but on the other hand, it's a weird preparation because it seems like white is doing better. So white to have a deep preparation where you're doing slightly worse, this is a little bit strange. Let's check from move number 1. We have the Italian game with the move bishop e7, bishop c5 is more popular, but still a very safe line, and a4 currently very modern line. Bishop g4 straight and taking on f3. Okay, this is unusual. Black is usually not playing the move bishop g4. We have more common moves like knight a5 followed by the move c5, for example, but bishop g4 and just to take on f3, c6, knight e6. Okay, it's a logical setup, but it's a weird setup because it doesn't look like black is completely fine here. It seems to me that white is doing better. Why is this position is equal? Is there no way to stop black from playing d5? I think there should be a way. This is a little bit strange. Sindarov with a weird preparation. Now Wei Yi is considering what should I do next. What can white do actually next? So we can try to get somehow the move d4, but it's difficult. So knight e2, knight to g3 would be something normal. Quite a usual way to play in the current positions. We have the move h4, yeah, also this is very normal. To get the pawn to h5, and in case black is going to play the move h6 and we control the white squares, it fits very well with the bishop on a2. So sometimes some small moves like h4, h5 can be unpleasant, but it is already a very high level chess play by Wei Yi, so you must be very strong player to play like that, to execute ideas like h4 to h5. Very difficult as well. There is some idea of queen h3 potentially, and as well there's idea of playing g4, so very strong move by Wei Yi h4. I like it a lot. More standard, this knight e2, knight to g3, but h4 is looking better than that. Maybe g3, maybe queen to h3, maybe h5 next. A lot of options here for white. I believe that white's position is better. In case black is going to play the move knight to d4, which looks pretty standard, I believe that white can take on d4 and play now the move knight e2. This is looking better. We have the very good bishop on a2 versus bad bishop on e7. So it is an opposite color bishop position, but white is doing obviously better. So we have better pawn structure, no double pawns, we have the better bishop, and very soon white is going to start attack on the black king. So this is better for white in my opinion. Black should not play the move knight to d4. Let's see what Sindarov is going to play next. We have the move queen d7, so indeed Sindarov is just preparing to play the move d5 next. He believes it's gonna save the day to play the move d5. I'm not so sure in that. I'm really not so sure. It looks dangerous now for black in my opinion, because d5, okay, it's a good move, but does it bring completely equal play? In my opinion, no. And also now we have still the move knight to e2, knight to g3. Maybe there is even something better. Maybe just to play the move queen h3, some pressure, to wait maybe for d5, because we as well have some pressure on the e5 pawn. Many options for white. 10 minutes for Wei Yi. Let's see what he's going to play next. Maybe let's take a look at the move knight to e2. So it's quite nice to get the knight to g3, very typical for the structures. d5 for example. And now we go with the move knight to g3. So knight to f5 eventually coming next. Can black equalize in such a position? Theoretically, yes, but it's not an easy task. And if the black is gonna play like d4 or take the pawn on e4, each time the white bishop on a2 will be very good piece. So not so simple still for black here. I believe knight e2 is looking decent. There might be something better than that, better than knight to e2 just. Maybe I need to play queen g3, I thought, but it's a bit strange because still d5 probably is possible. There is another option of playing bishop g5, but also this is feeling a bit strange to put the bishop on g5, because just with a simple h6 move, black would ask, do I want to take on f6? And usually I don't, so this is not the way to stop black from playing the move d5, yeah. Oh, okay. Capital letter, so I should thank you very much in the chat. That's a great advice. So if I do it next time, I will put a small letter. Yeah, thank you for advice. Okay. So we have the move queen h3 played. Let's see what happens after the move d5. I don't know. I don't know what happens after the move d5. I think it should be played next, because otherwise, why black played the move queen d7? d5 is sort of must, but d5 doesn't solve all the problems of black, of course, but still, I believe d5 is the move to go. I don't see something else, so d5 has to be played, and Wei Yi is gonna play now against the pawn on d5, so he will maximize the pressure, I guess, by move something like bishop g5, for example. Very complex position strategically, because it might be better for white, but maybe black can change, but okay. Hard to say if this is like completely equal or white is pushing as well. White can just take on d5, for example, take, and now go with the move bishop g5. So still not so simple for black to play here. Let's see. Let's see what happens next. If Sindarov finds a way to push d5, or maybe he's going with a move knight to d4 to defend in slightly worse endgame. Also possible to try to defend, yeah, just to play knight to d4. I believe we're gonna see something like queen d7, knight d7, attacking the pawn on h4, and now the knight wants to take the pawn on c2. So white is gonna take on d4 and knight to e2. So pawn is hanging. In case black is gonna take on h4, there is knight takes d4, and probably white is doing slightly better. Not so much, but slightly better, yeah. That's why black has to be precise here. We will see if Sindarov wants to defend a worse endgame. Normally not a pleasant thing to defend a worse endgame. So let's see. Or we're gonna see the move d5. In case black is not playing d5 or knight d4, yeah, some move like rook e8, it's a useful move, but now we can be sure that white is doing better. So now Wei Yi is confident that he is doing better, because d5 was the move to prove that black is doing fine, but no, Sindarov plays the move rook e8, so it's like you're admitting that you have a slightly worse position. So white with a better play, can Wei Yi use his advantage in his favor to make decisive pressure? Doesn't look like that at the current moment. White is just doing a little bit better. Still, I believe in this idea of bringing the knight from c3 to g3. I just like it so much, because the knight gets to f5, beautiful square for the knight, and then we push the move h5. Maybe white can play the move h5 instantly, but then we lose the idea of bishop g5. So for example, h5, maybe now d5 is possible, because we don't have the bishop g5 idea. So yes, let's see what will happen next. Bishop takes e6. Wow, I think it's too small. It's too small for an advantage. Bishop takes e6. Yes, the idea is very obvious. So Wei Yi wants to play take a5, and this might be better, because after b5 we can win the pawn on a7. But what happens after f takes e6? If we play a5 now, there is a move b5. This advantage is too small, so white should not play the move a5. Maybe The idea of Wei Yi is to go now to the move b4, trying to play b5 and later a5. Yes, it's also advantage for white, but I believe it is just too small. Strange. Strange to take on e6, I don't know. It feels not the best because I think too small. This advantage is going to be just too small to win the game. Maybe Wei feels a bit tired. This could be also the reason that he says, all right, let me choose the most safe option. So bishop takes e6 might be the most safe continuation, but it's not a continuation to play for a win. I don't know. Still, white with a small advantage, of course. In my opinion, it's too small to win the game. So let's see. Let's see how the game is going to develop. I'm almost sure that we're going to see f takes e6 because this endgame, it doesn't feel so good for black. a5. Maybe Sindarov is calculating something like d5, but it doesn't feel good to do that. So I don't know. a5, then white is going to take on b6, then we're going to play rook a7, some pressure on the a file. It should be better for white. So yes, this is I don't think it is correct way to play for black. And indeed we see the move f takes on e6, which is pretty normal. So knight e2 played by Wei Yi. I thought he's gonna go like with the move b4 and b5. Feels also normal to go like b4, b5. Knight e2 played. Strange continuation of moves, because why not to play knight to e2 immediately? d5, is it so dangerous? Because still we have the option of knight to g3. So I don't know, to take on e6, to play knight to e2, we still have the move d5 played. Black probably is doing slightly worse, but it should be enough to hold the position to a draw. Wei Yi has to decide, should he put the knight on g3, feels safe. As well, f3 is looking very, very normal. Personally, I like the move f3. Feels safe, but we have this queen h3, very poorly placed. I don't know. I think should be now close to equal. Probably the move knight to g3 more safe than the move f3. But both is possible. Wei Yi was still with 6 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, so quite a lot of time for Wei Yi to play the best moves. But somehow bishop takes e6 still. I'm not happy with Wei Yi with bishop takes e6. I don't think it was the best to give up such a beautiful bishop here. And now what to do next? In case white wants a draw, yeah, it will be enough to make a draw here. But I guess when you're playing a match, a draw means only there are more games to play, so it doesn't make you champion to draw. So you have to play for a win at some moment. Let's see what happens next. Already 5 minutes 40 seconds for Wei Yi, so Wei Yi is under pressure. What can he do? How to play for a win this position with the white pieces? Very difficult. Maybe he is considering something crazy like the move g4, but in my opinion it's a bit crazy. It's too crazy to play the move g4. Doesn't feel like white should play the move g4, even though we saw a couple of g4 games during the World Cup in positions where we should not play the move g4. Let's say take, the idea is to play g5 next. So let's say take, and we're gonna take on e4. So knight d5, we're gonna take e4. Now we have the better structure. Still, black has quite some options just to take on e3, for example, then bishop c5, then rook f8. I don't like it for white. So I don't think Wei Yi is going to play the move g4. We have knight g3 played. Yes, the safest continuation. But now, queen on h3. 0 moves. This is not looking like a great play by Wei Yi. queen h3, and knight on g3 is taking a nice position, but why to take on e6? Because now there is no knight f5. So what is actually the next move of white? It might be to play the move h5, but it's not that dangerous as well. So I believe black is doing now absolutely fine. Sindarov is thinking maybe actually to play for a win. So to play maybe, I don't know, bishop c5 or something like that. Of course, there is no need for a move like bishop c5, but now the white pieces are so badly placed that, yeah, why not to play for a win? Or you can go like bishop f8 is a very solid setup. We have rook f8 also very, very solid. Rook f7 coming next, and rook f8, yeah. So, Wei Yi with a knight on g3 and queen to h3. 0 moves for both of the pieces. Wei Yi has to be careful. So, with white, I personally would be very cautious here. h5, very normal. But let's say rook f7 is coming next. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. 10 minutes for Sindarov and just under 5 minutes for Wei Yi. We have the simple move h6. All right, but I think also rook f7 looks normal because h6 is not so dangerous. Actually, h6 could be bad for white in some positions, so I would have played rook f7. But we have h6 also very, very solid, of course. Rook e2, rook f7 probably. We have sort of a positional game where, in my opinion, black is not doing worse. Still, black should not do better, but maybe there is a chance to try to do something with the black pieces. I don't know. I feel like black should push something on the queen side. It's time to push. The queen is so far away from the queen side, so I don't know. So we have in the chat idea of playing knight f1, knight h2, knight g4. Yeah, if you can, would be good. Just not so easy. Let's see what happens next. Black is thinking, so Sindarov is considering, can I push something like c5? I don't think it's possible. Black has several ideas to equalize here, but again, maybe black has some chances to push here for something more than being just equal. Queen is still out of the game, and it's very difficult to get the queen back to the game. So black has all time in the world to do something on the queen side. Still, position of white is safe, but yeah, let's see. As well, we have idea like knight h7 and then to get something to g5, but then the queen is gonna break free, queen g4. So I don't think it's worth it for black to play knight h7. Yeah, rook f7. Okay, very solid. Yeah, rook f7, rook f8 probably, and then eventually somewhere maybe something like bishop c5 even. I don't know. Is it a try to play for a win now? Maybe it's a try. Let's see if Wei Yi can defend the current position. We have rook e1 by Wei Yi. Probably the idea is to play bishop c1 somewhere with the pressure on the pawn e5, but on the other hand, once you go bishop c1, I have bishop c5, so I have the counter pressure on the pawn f2. Very difficult for white to break here something in the center. Sindarov is considering rook f8 or no rook f8. There is no obvious idea after rook f8 because white maybe just plays the move b3 and keeps on waiting. So I would, if Sindarov wants to play for a win, this is a question, or he wants just a draw. In case he wants to draw, he will be just waiting and that's it. But in case he wants to play for a win, he has to do something. Maybe he wants to play for a win with 8 minutes versus 4 minutes and more or less an equal position. It is a try. Why not to try to play for a win here with the black pieces? Bishop d6. Okay, also very, very safe. Still, there is a lot of time, so there is no rush. Rook d f8 could be the next move of black. Queen. What a bad queen on h3. Completely out of the game. There is like no way even to get it into the game. So Wei Yi still playing with the queen down. Maybe idea of Wei Yi could be to play long term like f3, knight h1, knight f2, knight g4, but it takes too much to play knight f1, knight h2, knight g4 is looking also quite normal, but e4 is hanging. So not so easy the position for Wei Yi. Still, I believe that black should be capable of creating some small trouble. Even small trouble sometimes is difficult when you're low on time. Bishop d2 by Wei Yi. What is the next move of white? Probably b3, just keep on waiting. And Sindarov with 7 minutes. So Sindarov has to figure out how to get here something, yeah. How to do something. Indeed, yeah. It's very difficult to get advantage for black. I completely agree to that. Very, very difficult, but more time. So 7 minutes versus 3 minutes 50. Extra time is always very important. I believe Sindarov is going to take now a little bit of time to consider, all right, I have to find something, or I just maybe make a draw. But Sindarov is as well a big fighter, so usually he's trying to push in case he can. Let's see. Rook f8, bishop c5. Maybe we're just gonna see a draw like bishop c5, bishop e3, then bishop d6 back. If Sindarov wants a draw, maybe there is a move like c5, but the question is what black plays after the move b3. It looks like there is no threat. Rook f8, okay. Wei Yi probably b3. Just to wait for the next move of black. Wei Yi is taking his time. Bishop c3, wow. So this is a very risky approach, bishop c3, because there might be something with bishop c5 now. It has to be calculated if white is capable of keeping the pawn f2. Very risky play by Wei Yi, but okay. Wei Yi is very strong in calculation. We saw so many beautiful games of Wei Yi from the World Cup, especially in the first rounds of World Cup. He played this unbelievable bishop f7 against Pirun Kasper. This was fantastic, this bishop f7. So Wei Yi is just so good in calculation. Maybe he has calculated everything and he decided, yeah, it works. So to provoke d4 would be very good for white. Bishop c5, probably white wants to take on e5. So now we have this pressure on the f2 pawn. But maybe there is just nothing, so there is no way to put knight to good square with a attack because d4 is coming next. So maybe, yeah, maybe Wei Yi said it works. So bishop c3, strong play. If bishop c3 provokes the move d4, then white is fine. Now everything is okay for white. Still we have the horrible queen, but at least we have no pressure in the center. So this position is okay for white. Maybe even white can try now to be a little better. If we manage to bring the knight from g3 to some decent square, or let's say rook a1, rook e1, time to go back, and then we play just simple move f3, and then we get the knight over h1, f2 to g4, something like that. Maybe white will be able even to play for a win. Objectively speaking, should be still a draw. So no change here. Immediately the move knight f1, followed probably by knight h2, knight to g4. So to change the knights is good for white. b5, probably take, and rook a1. So white is able to cover the a file. Yes, maybe Wei Yi is doing again a little bit better after this brilliant bishop c3 to provoke d4 and c5. So very high level play by Wei Yi. Very good. Bishop c3 out of nowhere. Let's go back a little bit because we still have Sindarov thinking so brilliant. What an idea, bishop c3. I would never think of that because it looks so dangerous to play the move bishop c3, but in case bishop c5 is not working, then it's just a brilliant decision. Next move of white is e takes d5. Sorry, e takes d5. And yes, if black cannot defend the pawn on e5 otherwise, so d4 has to be played, and no more pressure in the center, so knight f1. Finally, the queen actually is pretty well placed on h3. Out of nowhere, queen e8. Tricky move by Sindarov, also very, very good play. Next move could be rook b7 with the pressure on the pawn h5 to provoke g4 would be huge for black. So white is never going to play the move g4, and in case white is not playing the move g4, then knight g3 has to be played back. So very strong move, queen e8 by Sindarov with little time on the clock now for both players. 5 minutes Sindarov, 2 minutes 40 seconds for Wei Yi. Let's see. Let's see what happens in this very exciting match. We have the move rook a1. Yes, it's a useful position. Probably we're gonna see something like rook c7 or rook b7. I don't know where it's best to put the black rook. So white will have to decide to play the move g4 or to go back with a knight on g3. Actually, g4 could be played, but there is always knight h7, so probably we are going to see knight to g3. Sindarov is taking his time. My personal favorite, I thought Wei Yi should be favored in the match against Sindarov, but currently we see that Sindarov seems to be in a great shape, so very unpredictable. Very, very unpredictable match. I saw Wei Yi as a favorite because Wei Yi is just so stable. He almost never blunders. He can keep his concentration so well. That's why I saw him like slight favorite, but yeah, Sindarov plays great chess, so hard to say, hard to say. Seems like an equal fight here. We have queen c8. Okay, so black just keeps on waiting. The next moves of black will be just keep on waiting. So Sindarov says, what do you want to do next? The great Wei Yi. And indeed, not easy to do something for white. There is a chance to play something like c4, c3, but yeah, I'm not so sure. In the long run, for example, it would be funny to play something like c4. Yes, there is dc, bishop takes, very unclear position. Let's say black plays a5, and now we start to run with the king, like king f1, king a1, king d1, king c2. Then we're gonna bring the rook to g1, and then we're gonna push on the black king. So in theory, this might be possible, like an idea, but not 100% sure. We see Wei Yi just repeating the moves, knight f1. This is a draw offer, so Wei Yi says, okay, play queen e8, and it's gonna be a draw. No, no draw. b5 played by Sindarov. Why is it so? Why black is playing here for a win? I don't think that black is doing better. So wow, this is very, very interesting that Sindarov plays for a win. Maybe he hopes that Wei Yi has so little time on the clock, but it's a bad idea to play risky against Wei Yi. He is so good in calculation. Very risky play by Sindarov now because AB can be taken, and of course we have the move knight h2, knight to g4 as well now available. I don't know, b5. Why Sindarov is doing something like that? This is a little bit crazy. Okay, just make a draw. Wei Yi offered you a draw with a move knight f1. Just repeat the move, so play the next game with white pieces. Now after knight h2, knight g4 seems to be possible in case of queen e8. Take, and we have the move rook a6 coming next. Yeah, this looks unpleasant. So active rook here on a6. Eventually later rook e1, rook e1, rook a1. This is looking bad. So how Sindarov can defend now from this strategic unpleasant move knight to g4? Still, maybe it is close to equal, but why to risk like that? Maybe Sindarov will lose the game. Now also he understands he did a very poor decision by playing b5. He should not have done it, so imagine how he feels. He says, why I did not just repeat the moves and it would be a draw. Yeah. Let me answer the question in the chat. Why most of the games are ending up in a draw? Well, because chess is a game where when you play without making a serious mistake, then usually the game should end up in a draw, so, or at least the chances of a draw are very, very high. We just play 8 by 8, 64 squares. And yes, sometimes I'm thinking what I did most of my life is just looking at 64 squares. It's quite funny. So that's why most of the games on a high level are ending up in a draw. So in case there is no big mistake on side of black or white, then the chance of a draw is just so high. Let's see, c4 by Sindarov. Yes, he is pushing on the c file. Of course, queen c2 could be an idea, so good question in the chat. But queen on c2 on one hand, yes, active queen is good, but on the other hand, white is going to play now the move knight to g4 somewhere, so there might be action against the king on g8. I find it risky. To win this position with black is going to be very, very difficult. So we have the move c3 also making sense, of course. Yeah, c3 just to block everything. Interesting. Bishop e1 or bishop c1. Bishop c1 is pretty nicely placed. We have this bishop h6 somewhere. On the other hand, bishop e1 much safer. First, white takes on f6. Good play by Wei Yi, in my opinion. Rook takes, bishop e1, I guess. Yes, makes sense, because there's f3 followed by bishop h4, and then we play rook e1 and rook to b1. Black is in danger. Black now is in serious danger to lose a game. This is looking ugly. Sindarov is getting outplayed by Wei Yi. Wei Yi with just 1 minute on the clock. Is it enough? Is it enough time for Wei Yi to win the game? Rook f7 idea. Rook to a7, at least to cover the a file. It doesn't help that much, because still f3 queen g4 is coming. The bishop still will get g3 or h4. There is still queen to g6, but of course to dominate the a file is huge. So we have the move f3, rook a7. Yes, black is just in time, I think, to dominate on the a file. Good save by Sindarov, yeah, because it was looking already very, very dangerous. Still, I would prefer the position of white. The rook to d1, interesting. So Wei Yi is not changing. He hopes to be safe here, and then to get this queen g4 and bishop g3, then eventually rook to e1. But I don't know. I think he should have taken. It doesn't look good to have like both of the black rooks here aiming for rook a2, rook to b2. This is strange decision by Wei Yi. I would definitely take on a7, and yeah, it looks much safer. So you go like bishop g3, queen g4 next. Slight advantage for white. Why not to try it? Rook to d1. Risky play by white. 1 minute for Wei Yi. 2 minutes 40 for Sindarov. Interesting. It's gonna be crazy ending eventually. For Sindarov, maybe idea could be to play the move g6 somewhere. So let's say we go rook b7 because it's good to cover all the files, and then to play like queen e8, king h7, followed by the move g6. In case black manages to change the queens, then black is better. White has to keep the queens on the board. Let's see what happens now. Do we have the move g4, g5 in mind of Wei Yi? But it looks bad because there is bishop e7, bishop g5. So I would never go with the move g4. Yes, bishop h4 is making sense to activate the bishop. Maybe then to play rook f2, rook f1. So we want to push f4 eventually with the move g3, f4 somewhere. Black is fast enough to attack the pawn on c2, or black is not fast enough. Let's say something like rook to b7 followed by rook b2. Can white break through with a move f4? Very hard to tell. It's gonna be eventually a very interesting fight. So out of a very slow start, we see now huge fight. Difficult to evaluate the position even because it's so much action. Black goes for the move rook b2. Yes, it's making sense. Now f4, e5 is an idea. Or maybe first to wait for black to play rook to b2 and then to push the move f4 is also an idea. Maybe after rook to b2 just to defend with the move rook to c1. So queen g4 been played. Bishop f6 eventually is coming next. Still not so easy. Black can try to play the move rook to b2 to paralyze rooks of white. White most probably will play the move rook c1. So queen to e8. Safe play. At some moment, I think we're gonna see the move f4. The question is when. Is it now? No. King h2 to put even safer the king. So rook to b2. And now probably we're gonna see the move f4, or maybe still not. Maybe still just rook c1. Queen f7 with the idea king h7, then g6, I think. It's important for black to play the move g6 in case it is possible. And for white, you have to get ready for the move f4. Wei Yi is waiting too long. I think it's time to play like rook f1 and just push the move f4. 30 seconds. Only 30 seconds for Wei Yi. Amazing. Let's see. g3. Okay. We're gonna see the move f4 next, but why to g3? Why not to go like rook f1? Straight preparation for the move f4. I don't know. g3 looks dangerous. No, the second, no. How to defend it all? So rook to b2. Probably the idea of white is to go rook to c1 and following by the move king to h3. So a very slow play preparation for the move f4. Okay, maybe makes sense, but looks a bit passive. So I don't know. Very difficult to evaluate the position. If there is a good way to play the move f4, maybe white is better, but as well here we suffer so much. Yes, king h7 with the idea of g6, king g2. But what happens now in case of g6? I think the endgame is just better for black. I think Wei Yi missed a chance to play the move f4. He should have played the move f4. Now I don't like the position of white. This might be worse for white. White is completely paralyzed, and f4 is not gonna happen, at least not immediately. So let's see. g5, I see in the chat some idea, but after g5 white is always gonna take 8 g's, yeah, so we can take en passant. But still, I would have played the move g5. It looks nice to play g5 or g6, yeah, to go for the endgame. Now rook to b8. Sindarov, where is he going? This is strange. Where does the black rook go? Eventually to play rook to g8, but okay, Wei Yi is gonna push the move f4. Okay, you cannot provoke the lion too many times. Okay, at some moment the lion is gonna snap, and we will see the move f4, so they're gonna be a dangerous attack on the king h7. We have now equal time for both of the players, 30 seconds versus 30 seconds. I don't like the move rook b8 by Sindarov, so both players are very, very nervous. Rook to b7, what is that? No idea what is happening. Sindarov somehow lost the right path. Strange play. Rook b8, rook b7, 30 seconds for both players, 20 seconds now. Wei Yi, Sindarov, 30 seconds. Will we see the move f4? Wei Yi finally with a move f4, or still no f4? Yes, finally we see the move f4. Yes, it does happen. That's why Sindarov should not provoke Wei Yi so much. Why to wait for the move f4? I don't understand that, because why to do that? Take e5, exactly. There's rook takes f4 coming. Suddenly the black king is in big danger, in big trouble eventually. Why to do that? Such a strange play by Sindarov. Just keep the rooks on the second rank. The white rooks are so passive. You want to make a draw, just move around. Now black's position might be difficult. Very, very dangerous. King on h7, maybe rook f2 followed by rook somewhere, rook f7, rook f6, sacrifice, queen e4 check. So dangerous. Let's see what happens next. I think Sindarov is on the limit. Wei Yi will be able to find something to push here with the white pieces. 15 seconds for Wei Yi. So close everything. What happens next? Wei Yi will be able. Rook f2, yes, is making sense, of course. Domination on the f file. In case of rook to b2, I don't believe in rook to b2. There's rook f7. So rook to b2, rook f7. This is never gonna work. I think queen takes f7. Is it possible to give a queen like that? I don't think so. So this is probably, but okay, I have no idea. Maybe it's possible to give a queen, because here we have check, and then we have the c pawn just running through. So white will have to give perpetual check eventually. Crazy, but maybe we're missing something. So let's see. Rook a1. No, we don't have the move rook to b2 by Sindarov, so probably he was afraid. Or maybe we're missing something, so it is a winning position for white eventually. We have the move rook a1. Now white should be doing much better. Yes, we have queen f3. Queen gets to e4. Beautiful square. On the other hand, this is very powerful what is happening here on the first rank. Rook f7 also looking quite nice. We have first the check king g8 to prevent white from playing rook f7. Interesting. Very interesting position. Wei Yi with just seconds on the clock. He plays with 1 second the move g4. Unbelievable. Just 1 second on the clock, then he moves g4. Can you imagine to have no heart attack? G4, maybe actually a blunder. Rook h1, very nice. The bishop is hanging. Where does the bishop go? Or maybe nowhere, like rook f7. No, he plays the move king g3, but I don't know if king g3 is the right approach. Let's see, because there is some check here on g1. Completely crazy position. This is very, very crazy. Who is doing better? Who is doing better? Rook e1. Rook e2. Finally, Wei Yi played the move pretty instantly. Take, bishop e7. Now the queen breaks free from e7, and maybe black is now pushing for a win. Let's see. Is there a defense for actually Wei Yi? Because to lose a bishop is not bishop f6. Yeah, let's play bishop f6. Is it possible to play the move bishop f6? No. He just takes, but how to defend now from the move queen h4? What a crazy game. g5, but this is bad. This is maybe lost now for white. So maybe Sindarov is winning the current game. Rook takes d4. It should be a mate. This is not a mate. King f4. Wei Yi again with a brilliant calculation. How he sees all this in just a couple of seconds. But I think there should be a mate. Maybe rook e1 with the idea of queen g5 next. It looks like a checkmate. It has to be winning for black. This position has to be winning for black. Yes, rook e1 played. And how to defend here? If we play queen f3, there is queen g5, queen g2. Still the move queen to g5. So maybe just 0-1. Rook e1. Maybe it's game over for the dreams of Wei Yi. Yeah, it is game over. So Sindarov is the champion. Wow. Unbelievable game. Finally, we have the champion, and yes, fully deserved. I mean, Sindarov played for a win where I think not so many players would try to win. Crazy ending of the World Cup. Wei Yi is losing with the white pieces against Sindarov, and what a crazy game. I think both players wanted to win at some point. Yeah, indeed, you're absolutely correct in the chat. Yeah, like, wow. Sindarov won. What a game, what a fight. Great. Just great ending of the World Cup. Huge game. Both players with little time on the clock. Both players are fighting. I mean, what a crazy position. White is trying to mate black, and black is trying to mate white. Very, very beautiful game, yeah. So, Sindarov, congratulations to Sindarov, of course. Fully deserved World Cup winner. Qualifies as well for the candidates. Huge achievement for the Uzbek player. Just huge, yeah. Yes, Sindarov wins the whole thing. Sindarov wins the World Cup, and the top 3 places qualified for the candidates as well. So very important success of maybe actually the biggest success so far by Sindarov. Of course, the Uzbeks, they won the Olympiad. This was huge, but personal single, I think Sindarov never won something so big like the current World Cup. Yeah, huge. Very nice game, fighting game, of course, mistakes on both sides, but this is completely normal. So black rooks finally did the job, and actually very beautiful to play rook e1 and bishop e7. I mean, huge overview by Sindarov, yeah, because it's not easy to switch from checking how can I mate the white king, and then the switch to play bishop e7, so changing the bishops, rook takes d4, and Wei Yi again showing his skills, but maybe not the best actually, rook to d4, but how to defend from this queen h4? It looks like it is game over, so very, very difficult to find a defense, if there is a defense. It doesn't look like there is a defense, and now rook e1, yeah, with the idea queen g5, so queen to g2, queen g5, and simply winning the rook on d4 or winning the queen, so black can even decide what to win next. Huge game, I mean, what to say? There's nothing I can add. Great win by Sindarov, and of course Wei Yi, huge tournament for Wei Yi. He won against the big guys. He beat Iragasi, for example, so huge tournament for Wei Yi to get to the finals. He had to work so hard. Yeah, second place. Okay, still second place is a very well respected result. Great, so that's it for the FIDE World Cup. I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and yeah, we'll be streaming with Georgi tonight. We're gonna do probably some more of the endgames, and the question in the chat, if Vincent Kamer can qualify to the candidates, not to the next one, no. To the next one, all the spots are ready, so eventually for the next candidates, yes, but this one, it's that's it. All the 8 spots are taken, so the current candidates are full. Okay, let me play the last Blitz game for today, and then I'm gonna end the stream. Hopefully see you tonight. In case you like educational streams we do with Georgi, please subscribe, and yes, give us a like, tell your friends, this would help us. We are in the early stages of the channel. Good, so we have the Nimzo Indian defense. I like to play the Nimzo Indian with the black pieces. It's a very safe opening, it's a nice opening, so I enjoy playing it. A5 also very solid, b6, so I have the bishop a6 theoretically, and I like to go away usually with the bishop. Well, let's go bishop f8, so also very safe, and bishop a6 or bishop b7, both is possible. Let's go with a move bishop a6, take, and look at the speed of light. Our opponent is just banging the move so fast. Unbelievable speed by my opponent, but usually just speed is not enough. Position is, I believe, pretty good for black. Now b4 is coming, b5 before. We are doing very safe in the center. We did not allow white to push the move e4, so black is probably doing slightly better here. As well, we have this move bishop d6 coming in case we need it. A4 is a good answer, but I believe that I have, I don't know, queen d7 also feels so good. Should I take the knight or should I play the move? I don't know, really hard to tell. Let's go bishop d6, because sometimes it's so good to take the knight on f4, because then I go knight e4, I change it, and then I play queen d7. Oh, he's gonna change the knight by himself, so he helps us a little bit. Yes, we say thank you for the help, and let's play queen d7. The next move will be the move bishop b4, king h1, bishop b4. So now you see you suffer with a pawn on a4. He doesn't even care about the pawn on a4. Why he does not care about the pawn, hard to understand, so let me just take it, and that's it. So objectively speaking, the position of black is winning now. Not much that black can do. I will be back with my queen, and then I'm gonna advance my pawns, and that's it. So this is a winning position for black, because we won the pawn on a4, and because white played way too fast. I would never advise you to play so fast. take your time in complicated positions, because once you lose a pawn and or some other material, it might be just game over. So why do we want to risk to be completely lost on the spot instead of fighting, instead of playing something interesting? So my advice, don't play too fast, don't try to trick your opponent with some nasty tactics in one move. This is not bringing you a long-term result you want to have. So take your time, try to play some good chess, and then the results are going to come. So how to win the current position? We are doing obviously very, very well. So let me bring the last piece into the game to protect the pawn as well on a4, h4, pretty normal. So how can I win it? Can I win it like on the spot by playing the move c3? I don't like moves like c3 because they don't look to be correct. So let me go to rook b4 just to be very, very solid. Okay, rook to b4 should be a good move. And rook to b8. So if I can, I change one pair of rook. Now I should be able to advance somehow. Pawn is hanging. I wanted to move the queen. This was not the right idea. So let's go king g7 just to make some safe move. Maybe I should have played g5, h6 actually. Yeah. This was more easy, but okay. Not so important. Still the position is winning, so everything is pretty fine. Let's go. How to change one pair of rook? So this would be great to change one pair of rook. Is it possible to go like knight to b5? I think it is, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm blundering something, but I think I can take it. Can I take it? Or I missed something. Let's see. Let's see if I can take it. If I can, these are good news. If I miss something, these are bad news. So let's see if we have some good news or some bad news. c2 is coming next. So c2 and king h6. And next move is c1 queen eventually. I have missed it, but he has missed as well. So we're gonna take the knight, and I think it is game over. Yeah. So this is just a game over. We give a check. And we give another check, so he resigns. That's it. Black won. All right, so thank you very much for watching. Maybe see you tonight. We're gonna be streaming with Georgi approximately 10 p.m. Dubai time or 7 p.m. Middle European time. So yeah, thanks for watching. Eventually see you tonight, and yes, subscribe in case you like our educational content. Thank you. Bye.